Let me walk you through a piece of math I wish someone had shown me when I was 22. By the way, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's the single biggest reason most people don't end up where they thought they'd be in retirement. Let's take two hypothetical people. Both retire at 65 with right around $450,000 in their retirement accounts. They invested in the same kinds of things and earned similar average returns along the way. The only real difference between them is when they started. The first one, we'll call her Sarah. She put away $300 a month for 10 years between the ages of 22 and 32. Then she stopped contributing. She didn't add another dollar of her own money for the rest of her career. She just left what she had and kept it growing in the market. Now the second one, we'll call him Tom. He didn't start until age 32, but once he did, he saved that same $300 every single month for 33 straight years until retirement. And by the time they both hit 65, Sarah has contributed $36,000 of her own money over her lifetime. Tom, on the other hand, had contributed nearly $120,000. Now that's a big difference, and yet they ended up in roughly the same place. Now this episode is about the reason for that gap and how to walk your kids and grandkids through it before they spend another decade learning the lesson the hard way. Almost every 20-something I've ever sat down with approaches saving in exactly the wrong order. I did the same thing in my 20s, by the way. They think they should wait until they're earning more, until they have the dream home, until they buy the car they've always wanted, until they take that one big trip. And then, with whatever's left, they'll start putting something away for retirement. Now that's backwards. In an era of social media and constant upgrades, this approach feels almost natural. It's hard not to get caught up in keeping up with the Joneses, and it's easy to justify upgrading to the latest phone the moment it drops, even when the one in your pocket still works just fine. And that's before factoring in the cost of housing, gas, groceries, and childcare in 2026, all of which feel like they're climbing faster than wages can keep up with. The problem is that the math doesn't care how you feel about your lifestyle. The math only cares about one thing. It always comes down to time. Remember, Sarah started at 22, Tom started at 32. Now, the principle that fixes this is one you've probably heard of before, but very few people actually live by it. It's called pay yourself first. The idea is simple in concept and almost rebellious in practice. Instead of figuring out how much you can afford to save after everything else is paid for, you flip the order. You figure out how much you need to be putting towards your future. You set that aside before anything else hits your checking account, and then you build the rest of your life around what's left. The house payment, the car, the vacation, the lifestyle, all of those decisions get made with the leftover money, not with the savings money. Now, this is the opposite of how most people approach their 20s, which is exactly why most people get into their 50s wishing they'd started sooner. Let's go back to Sarah and Tom for a minute, because this is where the math starts to feel almost unfair. Sarah saved $300 a month from age 22 to 32. Over those 10 years, she contributed $36,000 of her own money. Then she stopped. Never added another dollar, but she left it invested at an average 7% annual return. At age 65, Sarah's account is worth roughly $460,000. Tom didn't start until 32, but once he started, he saved $300 a month consistently for 33 years, same 7% return. He contributed nearly $119,000 of his own money over those years. At age 65, Tom's account is worth roughly $430,000. Now, Sarah put in $36,000. Tom put in $119,000. What a difference. Sarah's account ends up slightly larger. The thing that separates Sarah's outcome from Tom's is one thing, plain and simple. time. 10 extra years of compounding in her 20s did more work for her than 33 years of contributions starting in his 30s. I tell this story to clients in their 20s and 30s almost every week, and you can see the moment it lands in their eyes. That's the power of compound interest. And it's the single biggest reason age matters more than the amount when you're starting out. Speaking of compound interest, there's a 30-second math trick I want every parent watching to learn and teach to their kids tonight. Now, I know, we don't do math in our head anymore. We've got these things called computers, but this is a pretty simple rule. It's called the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 is a shortcut for figuring out how long it takes your money to double at any given rate of return. You take the number 72 and divide it by your expected annual return percentage. The answer is the number of years it takes your money to double. Here's the way I explain it when I'm sitting across from a client at the table. Think of your rate of return like a speed. The faster the rate, the quicker your money doubles. The slower the rate, the longer it takes. If you're earning 7.2% on your money, it doubles every 10 years. If you're earning 8%, it doubles every 9 years. And if you're earning 10%, it doubles in roughly 7 years. Let me show you why this matters with one quick example. Say your daughter has $10,000 invested at age 25, earning about 7.2% a year. By age 35, that $10,000 has now doubled to $20,000. By 45, it doubles again to $40,000, and by 55, it's now $80,000. By 65, $160,000. Now I think you see the pattern here. Same $10,000. No additional contributions, just 4 doublings over 40 years of compounding. Now imagine she waits until age 35 to invest that same $10,000. She only gets 3 doublings before retirement, not 4. Her $10,000 becomes $80,000, not $160,000. 1 decade of delay cost her half the value of that account. That's the Rule of 72 in real life. And it's why every doubling cycle your kids can stack into their investing lifetime is worth fighting to keep. The next idea worth teaching is one of the most counterintuitive concepts in investing. It's called dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging means investing a fixed amount on a regular schedule, like $300 every month, automatically, regardless of what the market is doing. Now, most beginners assume the goal is to time the market, to get in when the prices are low and get out when the prices are high. The problem with that is that nobody, including me, has a reliable crystal ball for when the market has its lowest point of any given year. What dollar cost averaging does is take the guesswork out of it. By investing the same amount on the same day every month, you automatically buy more shares when prices are low and fewer when prices are high. Now, over time, that tends to work out to be a better average cost per share than dumping a lump sum in once a year. So this really requires a big mindset shift, and it's really worth teaching your kids. When you're young and still accumulating wealth, a failing market isn't a problem. It's a sale. You're buying shares at a discount that you're going to own for the next 40 years. Or, to put it another way, you don't have to be a market genius. You just have to be consistent. In my experience, that's far more available to most people than market genius is. If you want a concrete checkpoint to share with your kids, Fidelity Investment publishes savings benchmarks tied to age and income. The general framework looks like this. By age 30, the target is to have 1 times your annual salary saved for retirement. By 40, it's 3 times. By 50, it's 6 times. By 60, 8 times. And by 67, 10 times. So if your daughter is earning $60,000 a year at 30, the target is around $60,000 in retirement accounts. By 40, if her salary has grown to $80,000 with career progression, the target moves to roughly $240,000. These are guidelines, not gospel. Everyone's situation is different, and the right number depends on retirement income goals, projected Social Security benefit, and expected lifestyle. but at least they give you and your kids a concrete number to point at when the conversation feels too abstract. So, how do you actually bring this up with your kids or grandkids? Here's a few things I've watched work well for my clients. First, lead them with the math, not the lecture. Pull up a compound interest calculator on your phone. Show them what their own $300 a month becomes by retirement. Make it specific to their salary and their goals. The numbers do the convincing better than any parent can. Second, normalize the automation. The pay yourself first principle only works if the saving happens automatically. Help them set up the 401k contribution at work or the automatic monthly transfer from checking into a Roth IRA, which is an after-tax retirement account that grows tax-free. Once it's automated, the discipline takes care of itself. Third, give them permission to live. Saving for retirement at 25 doesn't mean giving up the dinners, the trips, the experiences that make your 20s yours. It means starting the savings first, then enjoying everything else, knowing the future is already being handled. Think of how much more independent they'll feel. The goal isn't to scare them into hoarding, it's to give them a head start on some kind of retirement you're working toward. In conclusion, if you're watching this and thinking, how do I bring this up with my kids or grandkids? Here's what I'd suggest. Forward this episode to them. Sometimes hearing this from a financial advisor lands maybe a little differently than hearing it from your parent. Or even better, watch it together and let the math start the conversation for you. The numbers we walked through today aren't theoretical. They're the same numbers that play out in real clients' lives every day. If you'd like to sit down with us, either with your kids alongside you or just on your own to think through how to position your family for what's coming, you can schedule a no-cost, no-obligation conversation with us at the link below. We've helped countless families across multiple generations think through how to pass financial wisdom forward, not just financial assets. Thanks for watching, and remember, peace of mind is built on purpose.
We want to help be your guide along the way about how to, access your money and the best places to get it with the ups and downs. And we want to help you to take advantage of those different market cycles. So if that's what you're looking for, please reach out to us.